I built a mobile app that's literally saving my client over $100,000 a year in the trucking industry. In this video, I want to pull back the curtains and share everything with you. From the way I structure my brainstorming sessions, to the tools we use that made our lives so much easier. As usual with technology, nothing works the first time. We had a few major roadblocks along the way, and I want to share them with you as well. At the end, I'll share a demo with you on how the app works and the best platform to create this app on. We created this app on 3 different platforms and we found one to be the most effective. So make sure you watch all the way to the end so you don't make the same mistakes we did. That being said, Assalamu alaikum, my name is Muri. If this is something you're interested in, consider tapping that like button. In the last 2 videos, we covered how I landed my first client and how the automation we created for them actually saved them over $100,000 within their trucking business. Essentially, the system we created made their process go from this to this. The automation solved 2 problems. The first being copying and pasting the job information from their client to the driver they want to assign to that particular job. Now, when a job comes in, all they have to do is click 2 buttons and everything is done for them. The second issue they ran into was drivers filling out a docket form like this and then had to manually enter that into their spreadsheet every single day for each job. Now, all the driver has to do is fill out an online form and all the data will automatically populate in Airtable, which is where their database is held. The client loved this automation so much that they requested we build a mobile app for their internal operations.
Yes, I just wanted to touch base on one thing that one of the boys suggested was figuring out a way we can kind of implement individual profiles, for example, each of the drivers. Because obviously with the system we've just come up with, we're sending out automated messages. But I wanted to try to take it further and see if we could create possibly like an app or some kind of platform where we can assign each driver an account.
As a matter of fact, this exact automation we created enabled them to go from 20 trucks and now they've got 50, 60 trucks operating. Think about that. I mentioned we save them $100,000 a year. That's in admin fees. I didn't mention the opportunity cost. You do the math. An extra 30 to 40 trucks on the road within a few months. That's double the workload. How much value is that? That's probably $100,000 a month. It's crazy to me how solving a simple bottleneck within business like we did with this automation is the one thing that's stopping them from exploding. Now, to be honest with you, this happened much quicker than I thought. They've gone from 20 trucks to 60 trucks within 2 months and they have less admin work. Why is this? Because the employee, the valuable employee that was focusing on the admin work doesn't have to worry about that as much now, and he's focusing on the business. He's focusing on finding more contractors, more drivers. He's focusing on getting secure and more deals. So in reality, we've saved them over $100,000 in admin fees, but there's an unrealized gain we didn't factor in, which is the growth they've had within their business. That's invaluable. There's no price tag you put on that. Okay, now back to the app. After a few more in-depth meetings with the client, here are the features we agreed upon for the MVP version of the mobile app. MVP stands for minimal viable product. So they wanted 2 different portals, an admin portal for their team to internally use and a driver's portal the employees and contractors can use to track all their jobs every day. So for the admin portal, instead of creating a system where the drivers get a text message, now within the app, it'll pop up as a notification for the driver. This feature alone saves the customer hundreds, probably even up to $1,000 a month simply on Zaps. So there'll be no need for a Zapier integration. It'll just be within the mobile app. It'll pop up as a notification for the driver. So as soon as the admin or the dispatcher allocates a driver, it'll pop up as a notification rather than a text message. Everything's in one place. And the second feature they wanted in the admin portal is they want to be able to create their own internal jobs and assign a driver to that. Before they were getting external jobs as a text message, now they're expanding and they want to be a provider of these jobs. So they want a function where they can create their own internal job and notify the drivers once they've been assigned to that job. Now for the drivers portal, there were 3 things I wanted. They want the drivers to be able to see the history of their jobs and the upcoming jobs they have for that day or for that week. The second feature is they want the driver to be able to fill out a form within the app. Before they were filling out a form on Airtable, now they're filling out a form within the app. Everything is done in one place. And the third and final feature is I want to be able to track the drivers within the app. Keep in mind, these are the minimal functionalities for them to be able to use the app. After that, we can include many other features for them. Now, here is the fun part. I want to show you behind the scenes of how I brainstormed this type of project. So here's exactly what I do. I outline the whole problem to ChatGPT step by step. All the information I've given you in this video, I'll explain to in extreme detail to ChatGPT. What am I doing here? I'm giving it context on the whole situation. From there, I'll list out all the features you want within the mobile app and the client's goals and the whole purpose for creating this mobile app. After I've done that, I'll ask it to give me the best no-code platform to create this mobile app. So it's got context on everything, it knows what I want, and it understands the functionality of all these no-code tools. The 3 no-code tools it recommended were Adalo, Glide, and Flutterflow. Now, here is where the most value comes in this video. What I'm about to share with you is going to save you hours, days, even weeks of your time and a crazy amount of frustration from the whole development process. We have spent countless hours creating a mobile app on all these platforms, and I'm going to cut through all the BS for you so you know which one is best to use for your situation. The first platform we used was Adalo. It's very easy to use and it's visually appealing. If you're brand new to creating mobile apps, Adalo is pretty good. You can also publish to the App Store and the Google Play Store within the platform. However, because it's very easy to use, there are restrictions. The first issue is all the apps created within the Adalo platform are connected to the same server, which means if someone creates a mobile app and it gets millions of downloads and it crashes the server, that means your app is going to be down for a while. Now, our client is running a serious business that's highly dependent on this mobile app. We can't afford to have any downtime due to things outside of our control. And the worst thing is we found this out after spending countless hours creating the app. On top of that, it was difficult to connect to the Airtable API, and you're very restricted with how you can access the data and how you can view the data within the app. That moves us on to the second platform, which is Glide. Now, I've got to admit, Glide is very easy to use. You have more options when it comes to viewing your data within Airtable, and there are much more functionalities you can use within Glide. It's a little more complicated than Adalo, but it's more effective. However, the issue we fell into with Glide is the fact that it's hard to publish to the App Store, and on top of that, the database we set up is quite complicated and it has a lot of linking records. Although Glide was much better in terms of functionality, we were still limited with what we can do for the client. That leaves us to the last and final platform, which is Flutterflow. Now, the previous two tools we talked about, Adalo and Glide, are no-code platforms. Flutterflow is a low-code platform, and it's an extension of Google's mobile app framework, Flutter. So you have much more freedom to do whatever you want within the app, which means it's more complicated to use and takes a lot longer to create the mobile app. However, it's more robust and reliable, which are the most important things for us. It's very similar to how you create a website on WordPress. Now, Flutterflow is indeed the platform we create all the functionalities for our app, and I'll be honest with you, we're still in the process of creating this mobile app. However, as promised, I want to show you a demo of the apps we built in Glide and Adalo. Okay, the first platform I want to show you is Adalo. So as I mentioned, it's very easy to use and user friendly. It's pretty intuitive. So if we preview the app here, okay, so we wanted to make it very simple and basic for the MVP, just so the core functionalities are there. We didn't worry too much about design, but this is what we got with Adalo. So if they wanted to create a job, they'll simply click this, create the job, assign the driver over here, and this is all connected to our Airtable database. They can also have the drivers tab over here. They can search up all the drivers they want, and they'll be able to see the drivers' jobs and all the Docker forms that the drivers have filled out. Again, this is all connected to the Airtable database that we've set up for them. Then over here, okay, got the truck details as well. And finally, for the drivers, they could have filled out a docket. This is where they fill out the docket, and that's basically it with Adalo. So it's very simple. You can create this in a few hours. It's easy to use, and if you're just getting started and you don't have a really complicated database, I'd recommend this app. Now, the issues we face with Adalo is the following. We wanted to assign a driver, right? And we click Add Driver. Once we wanted to assign a driver, it was tough to actually get it to access the table that had all the information on the drivers and create a drop-down list where we could just select the driver. So we couldn't figure out a way to do this on Adalo. That was one of the restrictions we had, accessing certain parts of the database and making it separate from everything else. Also, the user login we had issues with when it came to Adalo. Next, I want to show you a quick overview of the Glide app. Okay, so if we log into this app, I've got a nice truck there, right? So if we look now this is a Glide app. So what I want to show you is if I click on the menu, right, we've got create a docket option, and it's got all the information to create the form, right, for the drivers to fill out. And if we come here, create a job, it's also same thing. The internal admin team can create the job. It's much more complicated. And over here we've got today's dockets, right? So this is what the driver would see. They'll click on all the dockets they've created today. If they click on it, it has all the information for the job. And then if they look at today's jobs, they click here and go on today's jobs, it'll have all the information for today's jobs as well. So again, this is very simple. We didn't overcomplicate it. As soon as we found out that you can't publish it on the App Store, we decided to stop the development for this. Again, something very simple like this for the team is very impactful. In the last 3 days, I've spent hundreds of dollars just on Zapier and Twilio. So just by creating this app will be saving them a lot of money. The whole idea of creating these apps is to have everything in one place. Eventually, they'll be able to invoice from the app and do many other things through the one system. So they don't have to use other people's software. Everything is done internally. And that's what we're building on Flutterflow at the moment. If you're interested to learn how we built the whole backend of this mobile application using no-code tools like Airtable, Twilio, and Zapier, make sure you watch this video. There's a whole breakdown that explains everything and how you can do this step by step yourself. That's enough for this video. Over and out.